Hey guys, so I've had a lot of thinking here lately. I know I haven't been as active as I'd like to be, and I've got stuff I need to open. And as I look at all the games that I have, and that I have to open, I sit there and think, over the past many years now, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Have all been the biggest games. And we've seen competition come and go. We've had some big games come, like Rage, and we had Jihad/Vampire, and we had all sorts of great things. We even had competition for Magic specifically, with things like Wyvern and Guardians, and so on and so forth. And as I look back at all of that, and I think of all the competition that it has now, the market's really kind of, how can I say this, almost come to a stop. Because back then, the card game market used to be flooded with different games, and that's not necessarily a good thing. While it gives variety, it's also bad because, there's an oversaturation. When there's an oversaturation, people get lost in the mix, people get lost in the shuffle, and things go unnoticed. And there's always great unnoticed games out there. It's never, everything gets a fair chance, or everything is seen as what it is and seen as a great thing. We always have those games. Something like Ophidian gets lost in the shuffle. We have stuff like that. We have a game like Shadow Fist gets lost in the shuffle. Rage, Vampire Eternal Struggle, things like that get lost in the shuffle. And, as I was thinking about all those games that didn't get a chance, I think of all the games that we have now that also don't really have much of a chance because Magic and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! All overshadow them. So, I'm kind of making this video as almost kind of like a reminder to you guys that there are things out there that you can play, active-wise. I want to say. Because there's tons of options I've shown on this channel with the dead games, that there are tons of great games out there that you can go onto eBay and buy big bulk lots, pay next to nothing like you would instead of spending it on your Magic the Gathering booster box or some Yu-Gi-Oh! Starter decks or a new Pokemon card that you just absolutely have to have. And so I kind of wanted to mention all of the active games that I'm aware of. I know there may be some that you all say, hey, there's this game, why didn't you talk about this one? Well, I may miss it. So if you all would please watch this video and just kind of listen to what I have to say, give you a little insight. While I am mainly a dead card gamer, there are some active ones that I do play. And I will let you know when I talk about what there is available. So, to my friends and family, they know this as true. I am a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. I have been ever since I was a kid, watching it on Toonami, leaving school, and then coming home, waiting on Sailor Moon to end, and for Dragon Ball Z to start. Love it. So the Dragon Ball Z card game, the old one goes under the dead card game, but there's the revived one that came out a few years ago, which I used to have stuff for on my channel, which I did remove because I could no longer endorse the game myself or have any interest in it just based on the direction that the game was going. But I'm sure there are plenty of you out there that play that, and it's still active, it's still going. I think they're around sell at this point, maybe towards the end of it. I don't really pay attention to the game, so there are a lot of sets have gone by, and I just haven't played them. If they've put Broly in the game, then I'm certainly not going to play again, because Broly was a little too powerful in the old game as well, so that's something I would like to avoid, because I did like the old game, and I did have some of the cards from that as well. I played all the way to the Boo Saga, and then when GT came out, I didn't play that game because GT, I had no interest in it. So, once that ended, that was that. But Dragon Ball Z is still active. It's a game you can play right now. I'm sure you can go to GameStop or your local card shop or whatever and get some. So, that is one game to keep in mind. Another one that I was also interested in, but the community here fell out, just like Dragon Ball Z. The community here for Dragon Ball Z just died. It lasted about a month, and it died, and I tried to get it going again, and I could not do anything to get it going. And in this game, they've also kind of done it themselves. It's Force of Will. I know that was really popular when it first came out. It was a big hit in Japan. It was kind of giving Yu-Gi-Oh! And Duel Masters a run for its money. And, you know, I really tried to get into this one. I had starters, I had booster packs for it, and I really tried my best to get into this. I went to a few little meetups at a local card shop and played a few games and all of that. And, you know, it's alright, but to me it suffers the same thing as Dragon Ball Z. You get certain cards that come out that are just way too overpowered and benefit certain people and nobody else. And nobody else can be, you know, up to par with said group, you know, like said color or technique or whatever you want to say, because I'm referring to both games. And, you know, when you have stuff like that, that's when interest in the game goes down, which was one of the reasons that it went down here locally, is the fact that certain cards were just getting played and it was just getting out of control with some of their stuff. I know some people can say, well, Magic does the same thing and Yu-Gi-Oh! Does, and yeah, I'm aware of those, but, you know, they kind of have a long-term reputation, and, you know, they're not a new game. They've been out for a while, and they have the following, the tons of players, the resources, so on and so forth. But with each set, when you have to make something that makes a card before, you know, not as powerful, you're doing something wrong. Game design is not working. You're making a critical error, and you're not fixing it. You're just finding a temporary solution until you do something wrong again, and then you have to do it for another card, and it goes through a cycle that never ends, which is never a good thing. But once again, that's not one I play. I used to try to play it, community died, and it's gone. Now these, another one, I was going to move on to the ones that I play, but I forgot that there's another one. There is one called Exodus. I talked about this in another video. Don't really know how well they're doing. I mean, I follow their Facebook, but I don't see any like tournament stuff or anything of the nature, and I don't know. It seems like an okay game. It doesn't seem like anything, you know, groundbreaking, anything revolutionary, anything different, but, you know, it's something that is active and that you can play. So Exodus is another one. So I'm just going to move now to the ones that I am currently into, that I am currently playing. And the first one is Epic Card Game. It was based on the Epic trading card game. It is by White Wizard Games. It has it's very similar to Magic in a sense. You know, you pay for creatures and spells with either 0 cost or 1 cost, which is gold, which you get 1 per turn. And you play these big creatures, these spells, and they do all these great abilities, and it's just an overall fun game. You need to really, like, they have a channel on here, you know, look into the game. And it's not a CCG. You buy the base set, as I call it, and it's 120 cards, which I've opened on this channel. And that's 4 players can play that right out of the box, which is fantastic. I love that element. I think it's great that we're moving away from the booster pack thing. I think the booster pack thing kind of needs to go away. You know, stay with the big mainstream games. That's fine with me. They can keep doing that. And so it does have expansions. It has they look like booster packs, but they have, you know, specific cards in them. You know, so if you got 2 of the same thing, it would be the same cards no matter what. So there is that, and it's fun. I like it. Some of the card art is kind of weird, but it's not bad weird. It's just almost kind of misplaced. It's not cheesy like Epic Trading Card Game was. The card art on that was that terrible love. I have a love-hate for the old CGI, and it was bad, but I liked it because it was bad. So we'll just go ahead and move on from that. The next thing is Shadow Fist. I've recently just got into this. I was actually looking into this because I thought it was a dead game. And I thought, oh boy, something new I can open. The concept is very cool. It's like a Hong Kong action movie, and it works really well when you have 3 or more. You can do it with 2, but, you know, it's not as enjoyable. But if you have 3 or more, and it's a great game, everything about it is just fantastic. Fantastic. It's almost like like a good back and forth slap that you do to one another. And it's just, it's a great time when you kind of just sit there and play it, and you're just trying to get all these different, I call them venues. I know they're not actually called venues, but you're trying to get these venues and all of that and score all the points, you know, so on and so forth, to try to win the game. It's pretty good. And then the last thing, which I do a lot of coverage here on the channel, is Ophidian 2360. It's my all-time favorite of the three. Nothing against the other two, because I like both of them very much, but Ophidian is just the top of the line for me. It's really great gameplay. Have gladiators go back and forth, and you're just, I mean, just smacking each other back and forth, you know, no turns, you get control of the flow, lose the flow, so on and so forth. It's a great game to just sit down and play, and you know, a lot of the times I've played it with 2 players, but you know, when you get more than 2, like you have 3 or 4, man, let me tell you something. It's incredible. It is just an unreal experience to do it that way. Very, very fun to do. And they just recently got done doing some Kickstarter backer stuff, which I got my stuff in. You know, it's really awesome looking. The cards are great. The card quality is always fantastic. It's printed here in the United States, which is a big plus for me. I like that kind of stuff. And the fact that they're really great people there at Hack and Slash Games, the people that make Ophidian. And they're great people all around. That's always nice to work with. The same can be said with Shadow Fist. I've never contacted the people at White Wizard Games, but the same goes for the people at Shadow Fist, which is Inner Kingdom Games. Daniel Griego, I think that's how you say his name. If I said it wrong, and if you're watching, I'm totally sorry. I've also been in contact with him because I want to run demos for that game, and he's just helped me out tremendously. You know, I'll talk to him on Facebook, and he'll be like, yeah, I sent you this stuff out, and so on and so forth, and he's really great. So these last 3 games that I said, I like them better than the other 2 that were mentioned earlier, because I feel like there's a not a personal connection, but it's more customer friendly. They feel like actual people. They're not a corporation where it's like, you know, send an email here and we'll get back to you in such and such time, blah blah blah. So, and they really care about getting like communities built, you know, making something out of it, and that's fantastic. So anyways, I've made this longer than I actually anticipated, so I just wanted to thank you guys for watching this, and I will see you guys next time.